In this video, you will get a good idea of how much you should charge as a freelance graphic designer, particularly when you are just starting out. And if you stay until the end, I'm going to give you a bonus tip on what to do if you feel super uncomfortable saying any prices to clients and how to actually go about starting this conversation. This is going to be the first of a series on pricing, so be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified for future videos. That also really helps my channel to grow. If you like this video, comment below and share it with others. Okay, let's face it, determining your fees can be tricky. You might feel frightened to charge too much, and you might feel ripped off by charging too little. So this is my attempt to help you out, and some of my followers have already used this system to successfully price and land their first jobs. Now, there are many different opinions on how to charge for your services out there, but this one mainly applies for new designers and is based on my own experience as a designer for over 10 years and having started and run a profitable design business. First is you want to price according to your experience and value. If you're just starting out in design, you want to focus on building your client base to generate referrals and to gain experience with working with clients. I offered my services very discounted for the first several months just to get my name out there. And as time goes on, your experience will grow and so will your value. Using logos as an example, at first I was just offering logos, so the value was much lower than if I were to do a brand identity project. Personally, I was charging between $150 to $200 when my experience was quite low. But when you are then offering brand identity, including the logo, and have more experience under your belt, you're adding more value, and thus you can charge higher. In the $500 to $750 range is an average for that type of project. And if you get into overall brand strategy, which is a much more involved process, you can charge in the thousands. As you gain more experience, I would highly recommend not doing hourly rates, as the more your experience builds, the faster you will get at projects. So you should charge based on your value, not your time. The second point is to think with your long-term income goals and price accordingly. The US average for a designer is about $60,000 per year, and this can vary all over the place. But you want to think with how much you want to make in a year, how much that breaks down into monthly and weekly periods. For the example of $60,000, that breaks down to $5,000 a month and around $1,200 a week. So, using the logo example, if you were to take on 2 brand identity projects per week at $600, you would meet your income goals of the $60,000. So that's a really good way to also break down pricing. The third point is to know your niche and how much clients within this niche are willing to pay. Okay, let's face it, not every customer is willing to pay the same. Being a designer is no different than being a physician, in that within the field of design, every niche pays differently. Just like a cardiologist makes about $300,000 a year, a pediatrician makes about $150,000 to $200,000. Different niches within the overall medical field. In the field of high-end UI and UX design for, let's say, Google, the hourly rate is much higher than that of an entry-level logo designer for small businesses. A corporate branding project would expect to pay more than a new e-commerce brand startup. And if you really know who you want to design for, then you need to research the competitors in that space and see what they are charging. For example, e-commerce startups aren't usually willing to pay more than $600 for a brand identity project, but they also don't expect as much value as if you were to take on a business consultation company who would be willing to charge upwards of $5,000, but they would also expect more value. Now, I've worked with both ends of the spectrum, and at the same time, the way you go up the ladder in pricing is by being a very specialized designer and elevating yourself apart from the other designers who are also catering to all companies everywhere. Instead of being one of the blue fish, you stand out as being a red fish, and clients will understand why you would be charging them more. The fourth point is to see what platform you will use to offer your services. It's my opinion that the best way to start is through building your own website and then building your client base outside of an actual platform. You can start with local businesses, family, and friends just to get the word of mouth going. But over time, it will grow, and those clients will trust you, and they are then yours. You have to look at what are your long-term goals. If you start in places like Fiverr or Upwork, the clients may come back to you, but they are never fully yours. They belong to the platform, and the platform will take a commission off of every client you get. It becomes very competitive on pricing, and based on the region you're in, you get fixed to a certain level that you can't grow from. Whereas if you own your own business, you can increase your prices as your experience grows. You can absolutely start in one of these platforms such as Fiverr if you really want to, but at the same time, you should be building your own business on the side. Okay, so now for the bonus tip. If you feel super uncomfortable saying your price on a project when a client comes to you, I strongly suggest you find out what the client's budget is. It's a great starting point. Let's take the logo example again. You just ask them simply, what is your budget on this logo project? If it's $10, you know you don't want to work with them. If it's a few $100s and you're just starting out, go for it. You want to build the client's trust and start getting some loyal clients and good reviews. If their budget is lower than you want to work in, that's no problem and you don't have to take the project. You can just say, I'm probably not a good fit for your business as my starting rate is, let's say, $200. Let me know if there's anything I can help you with in the future. Now, another way to start until you feel comfortable setting set prices is to do an hourly rate, which I only really recommend at the beginning or on an ongoing project basis, where the end goal is not really definable. Now, this should vary depending on if you will be working for months with this client or let's say just a short time like a week. But I would start with anywhere between $40 to $65. This is obviously in the US. And you can then get a sense of how long the project will take and what you feel you should be charging in future projects. It'll give you a really good understanding of your value. I created a price guide that has the average beginning design rates for a variety of services when you are just getting started. And the link is in the description below so that you can get this for yourself to help you out. It's in US dollars, but anybody can take it and translate it into your own currency. And otherwise, please comment below any questions that you have on this subject so I can address them in future videos. And be sure to subscribe for future videos on the subject of expanding your design business, your clients, and your skills. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.